We're just waiting for a few minutes for everyone to join the space. Welcome everybody. We're also still figuring out how to become a co-host, but otherwise we'll just stay speakers for this space. So bear with us for 1 or 2 more minutes and then we'll kick this off. All right, let's see, we have almost 200 people here already, so let's just kick this off. Again, welcome everybody. So I think most of you know already who I am. I'm Paulus online, and I'm working mostly on the marketing at Reform. I will be the host of today's space, and let's quickly discuss what we're going to discuss today. So I want to make sure you guys are all up to speed. We'll do a quick update on Reform. We'll talk about what we have achieved so far, and then we have someone with us on stage today, but I'll let him introduce himself very soon. I also want to tell you guys that this will be a weekly space, so from now on every Wednesday afternoon at this time, so 4 p.m. CET, we'll actually host the space, and the weekly spaces will have a slightly different agenda than what we have today, because the weekly spaces will have an educational topic where we deep dive into some of the segments of Reform and try to make sure that you guys learn about what Reform is all about and learn everything around Reform. However, obviously today we'll dive a little bit further into the Testnet because we just launched that. So that had the priority today. Then let's quickly look at what we have achieved so far as Reform, because we started only 2.5 months ago with Reform DAO, and only two and a half weeks ago we started initiating all of our marketing and growing the community. And so far in that time, in the 2.5 weeks, we have reached over 50,000 followers on Twitter, or on X, I have to say nowadays. Also, we have over 50,000 people in our Discord, so our community is growing extremely quickly, which is great to see. We also have 4 affiliate accounts, which is Paulus, Scorpio, Ichimoku, and Reform Dev, who all have over 10,000 followers as well. And we have over 7,500 members on our Telegram channel. So we are very, very excited for everything that we have achieved so far. And we can't wait to grow this community a lot further with you guys. So let's dive into what we're going to discuss today. And I want to start by introducing one of the core contributors who's here today with us as a speaker. And a co-host, and that's Scorpio. Scorpio, welcome.
Hi everybody, thank you. Glad to be here and to finally have some discussion ongoing with the community and have some explanatory things in regards to Reform DAO together with you, Paulus. Looking forward.
Amazing. Can you quickly tell the community what your role is within Reform DAO?
Yeah, as in every other business, and in this case DAO, operations are quite a big and important topic of letting a company run properly, or in this case a DAO. In my role, I'm making sure that everything on the day-to-day business will go well, and that everything is scheduled and properly prepared for the right moment. So it's just chasing a lot of people and making sure that everything is done on time, and just always trying to remember all the things that are ongoing, just to make sure that the performance and the promises that we do to the community, which is you, are being fulfilled.
Perfect, thanks. And I can tell you, everybody, that indeed he is chasing you down if you're not on top of your work, because he's chasing me every day. So let's start with an introduction on what Reform actually is, because I think a lot of people here know it, but it would be great to have a quick breakdown from you, Scorpio. So if you can briefly explain what Reform is.
Yeah, Reform DAO is actually the first ever market-making DAO, so decentralized autonomous organization, where we actually want to make market making more accessible, more transparent, and more fair. Because market making in general has been quite a mercenary business, quite a mercenary space, where we actually now are aiming to make a difference and actually let people be involved in the process and also reap the benefits of what market makers actually can make in terms of profits. So in that sense, it's just super in our point of view, super important to have more people involved with this, communities involved with this, but also have more transparency in regards to the operations that are coming with that. So that's actually what Reform is and what we want to do.
Yeah, I mean, you are, my next question would actually be, why did you start Reform? And I think you already highlighted some of the important aspects that Reform is doing different than the current market making industry is doing. But maybe you can elaborate a little bit more on why did you start Reform and what's the goal with Reform?
Yeah, I think it's also what I just mentioned, right? Like some of the market makers are, very mercenary and just trying to get everything for their own benefit. On the other side, there are also a lot of equitable market makers, but we really want to be part of the equitable market makers, but also have the possibility for the community to actually participate and, like I just said, reap the benefits of participating and contributing to a market making DAO. So in that sense, that's actually what we want to do. We want to make a difference in that sense. We want to be as well transparent. We want to be accessible for other people, since market makers in general are like private companies, and in this case we want to fulfill it as a DAO. And just make the space more equitable, make it more fair. And I think that's what the crypto market needs. Better communication, better handling of services, and just making sure that everything is aligned, and not that only 1, 2, or 3 parties are becoming the biggest and richest ever and then just disappear.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what I like so much about Web3 and why I love Reform so much, because it's for the people by the people, and that's just what Web3 is all about. That's great. So Reform is a market maker. However, I think a lot of people don't really know what market makers are and what exactly they do. And also how important they are for the crypto space. So maybe can you explain to the audience what market making is a little bit in detail?
Yeah, so you should think of it like market making is just the backbone of the whole financial market. The normal financial market, also the crypto market. Whenever you buy, whenever you sell, there always needs to be some sort of liquidity to actually sell or buy your orders to. If there's no liquidity, no one can actually buy or sell anything. And in this case, of course, there's a lot of people that can put in bids and ask, but on the other side, it's also quite it's not enough in that sense if only the people would do that, because people only do it occasionally, and 9 out of 10 times they just want to buy it at the moment that they're in the exchange, or that they're making the trade. So that's actually where market making comes in. Market making is for, let's say, the people. It makes sure that liquidity is always there. It makes sure that you can actually make your trade to buy or sell against an order book, or even in the case of decentralized exchanges, against the liquidity pool. So in that sense, that's actually what market making is in the broadest sense. There's of course a lot of nitty-gritty to it, but I think in the broader sense, it's purely what I just explained.
Yeah, perfect. Well, to be very honest, I still think this is a very difficult topic to understand for a lot of people, even if you have been in the space for a long time. So it's definitely something we're going to deep dive in the future in the spaces we are scheduling for the coming weeks. Each space will dive into some of the unique aspects of what market making is, and especially what Reform is doing to improve that in the industry. But as I mentioned, that's for future spaces to deep dive and provide educational content, so everyone within the community and everyone around the world can learn more about market making, about what's everything that a market maker does, but especially what Reform does.
Sorry to interrupt, but I think that's also an important part to it, right? Market making is something that's happening, let's say, behind the scenes, or let's say making sure that you have your liquidity, but not everyone is aware that it's there. And it's also like such a huge market that, there's a lot of opportunities, and especially if people then can have the opportunity with Reform DAO to be part of a market maker, I think, that's really what we want to create, and also what I think is super important in the cryptocurrency space as a whole, since liquidity is key. The more liquidity there is in the crypto space, the more financial institutions and bigger parties, looking at the ETF. That's also like a big step in the cryptocurrency space itself. But liquidity is key. So the more liquidity there is, the more the bigger entities and parties will be interested in becoming part of the crypto space, and that's of course what we're all building on.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And do you also think that market makers are basically handling the biggest chunks of liquidity and volume within the crypto space?
Oh yeah, I know for sure. I know market makers are like the liquidity providers in the overall space. Like they are the makers. They make the order books. They make the liquidity pool, so to say. And of course, a lot of singular people are also doing this, but never to the, let's say, mass that market makers are doing it in terms of the quantities. So yeah, I think that's mainly it.
Yeah, that's great. And I mean, it just keeps me amazed by how this is such a big industry and how it's so private, and how Reform DAO is allowing everybody to get involved with this and get a piece of it, which is, yeah, I think it's so unique and really interesting, and an amazing opportunity. Absolutely that. But today we're here obviously for something else than just explaining what Reform is all about, because you can read that on the website. If you're in the community, this is something that we have discussed a lot already. But we did something quite big from our roadmap last week, and that is we launched our testnet. So, yeah, a testnet is obviously a sneak peek into our product, the dashboard that we have, which shows the transparency and which shows what we're doing as a market maker. But maybe you can explain a little bit more about the dashboard and its features.
Yeah, for sure. Would love to, because the dashboard is one of our key points in indeed, as you said, the transparency that we want to showcase to the people. So whenever you come on the dashboard, of course, you have the first overview page wherever you can see like the TVL that's in the protocol itself. But you can also see the market cap, the locked staking supply, all those kind of things that are actually interesting for people to see and to know, because that's all part of the transparency that we want to showcase. But this is all on the protocol level, right? So whenever you go to the next step, which is like the trading page, there you actually see like the composition of the DAO treasury, the tokens and coins that we're sort of invested in, and then you also see the trades constantly ongoing, right? As of now, we're still in the test phase, of course, and we're only having like 13K or something in the algorithms working to make sure that we can test properly. But we aiming for next week to really ignite those engines and to really kickstart everything, put a significant amount of capital in, and to really turn on the engines as we actually said that they would do, which is like it's capable of doing between 500,000 and 1.5 million trades a day, dependent on the accounts that you turn on. But also, it's capable of doing significant volumes, which is also part of course, being a market maker. So that's all reflected there and all showcased in the dashboard, where people can just see whatever is going on. Of course, another part to the transparency, and I think that's really, really important, is also the trading reports. Trading reports are going to be disclosed on a monthly basis. And there, actually, the realized profits will be disclosed, the amount of trades that month, the volume that month, like everything that you want to know, the composition of the DAO treasury, everything is like noted there from a monthly point of view, just to showcase, okay, from a transparency point of view, this is how the DAO actually is now positioned. And of course, there's always room to, build on, make it live, make it actually all, interactive. But for now, that's how we want to do, especially showcasing as much transparency as possible. Going to the next page, and that after the trading, we're going to the bonding page. And the bonding is, of course, as now the testnet is actually meant for, everyone is able to claim their Curly Ethereum. And there we can actually, click on the buy bond button, and we can actually start bonding our Curly Ethereum for locked Reform tokens. And I think that's a key feature to actually our ecosystem, how we generate liquidity and how we constantly make the engine grow in terms of liquidity, and how we can keep sufficing more and more liquidity to the crypto space in general. And next to that, we go to the staking page. Automatically, whenever you do your bonding, your locked Reform tokens will be staked in the staking contract, and there you will actually see your position. You can claim your staking rewards there, and just enjoy the benefits and the right that we're actually offering. Next to that, also you can, with your locked Reform, you can also do voting. So everyone who's locked through the bonding and through the staking contract, you can actually do voting already, which is then on the page after, where we focused on the proposals that are ongoing. None for now, but yeah, like a small hint that will be coming in the near future.
Wow, that's a lot and a lot of information already. That's great. And just to go back to the start of what you were saying, I mean, obviously you're getting a capital injection next week, which is the investment from Growity that we have mentioned before, right?
Yeah, that's part of it. So we're just going to continue to onboard more and more. We already have 2.5 million committed, and we're aiming to raise until the 4 to 6 million. So in that sense, it's going the right way. And yeah, we're still in talks with significant parties to actually raise the amount of capital that we want to raise for the liquidity provision.
Perfect. Yeah, and then you mentioned. I just want to say this again because I think it's so important that people. I don't know if you can even fathom how big this is, but you mentioned that with that capital injection now, you will be able to execute 500,000 to 1.5 million trades per day with the engine.
Yeah, yeah, like the engine is built for scalability and it's built for speed. It's built to high frequency trade the market, and I think that's a unique part in the algorithms that are running, which are also then indeed, of course, provided by the software and of course the dedication of Growity. So in that sense, it's really like a synergy coming together where the DAO stands for transparency and yeah, fair opportunities and chances for everyone, and where Growity is the big player that's actually creating this software and actually providing that to Reform.
Yeah, wow, amazing. And let's look a little bit into why did you decide to run a testnet? Because you explained everything that's on the testnet and obviously on the dashboard once we go live. But why a testnet?
Yeah, it's always good for people to have an idea on how things work before it actually goes live. So yeah, as of now, that's now the case. We also want everyone to, give their feedback, go onto the platform, check it out. Does it work? Do things lag? Do you think things should change? And all those extra inputs is just super important for us to bring the best product out there and to actually bring the transparency as we want it to be. So yeah, that's actually the main case. Like indeed, testing it for the purpose of does it work properly and do we get any feedback, but also showcasing a proof of work, right? So especially with the investments coming in, the algorithms running, seeing the trades progressing, seeing the transactions per day or transactions per second speed meters going, seeing the composition of the DAO. All those kind of things are just super important for everyone to see that there's actually a product and there's actually something working in the background, which we think is super important for any other project out there. You can launch with a promise, but we want to launch with a proven product.
Yeah, I think that's so important because especially in Web3, you see so many projects go live with the promise of something that they're going to do in the future, but they haven't done it yet or they haven't built anything yet. And yeah, as you mentioned, a proof of work showing the people like, hey, everything is ready, everything is built. We are ready to go live with you, and we made sure that everything works before you get involved. And I think that's just also showing respect to your community and showing them that you value them and that you want to make sure they have success. So that's great. And now that the testnet is live, and obviously the whole team is working on the launch of the dashboard and working towards a token generation event, can you maybe give us some insights on the expectations and developments for the coming 2 months?
Yeah, sure. So in the coming 2 months, like you already said, we're really working towards the TGE event to actually the launch of Reform DAO itself. We've been working on the protocol like for quite a while now. The bear market has been our building period, which we always say, is always the time to build. Bull market is the time to shine, and bear market is the time to build. Well, this is exactly what we did. And in the coming 2 months, we're really working towards the launch of Reform on centralized and decentralized exchanges, but also with the appropriate partners and backers. So that's really our key focus for now. In terms of developments, of course, also now we have the testnet, the mainnet will go live, and then actually, people will be able to buy real bonds. And next to that, we also have some very cool features which will be implemented in the DAO structure itself and for the people that actually will buy the bonding. But I leave that up to you because you're like the marketing guru here.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, that's good already to hear. One thing that just popped up while we were talking, and that's something that's really important, I think we need to mention, is that obviously with the size that we already have and the plans to grow even more, there's always people that try to hurt you or scam you, especially people in the community. And we just want to make sure, guys, and we can't say this enough, never click on any links which are not sent by Reform, by the official accounts of Reform, or any of the accounts that are affiliated to Reform officially. That's all verified on Twitter. You can see that we have the gold check mark for a reason, to make sure that you don't click on any scam links. But even then, we have already seen accounts, with a gold check mark that they bought. Just make sure it's always the Reform account, because it's just so important. And the more we grow, the more people will be out there to unfortunately try to get something out of the community, and they are not affiliated to Reform, obviously. So as we have discussed now what Reform is as a company, obviously a little bit what market making is, we have spoken a little bit about the testnet and the dashboard. Today obviously is also about answering some of the questions that our community has. So we have asked quite a lot of people in the community, our most loyal people, our diamond tier members in the Discord, if they have specific questions. These are also the members that speak with most of the other members. So also if they have seen questions from the community that pop up more often. And we made a list of questions for you, Scorpio, to answer today. However, before we go there, and I need to check because someone is on the Reform account and that's not me, but we have our first ever diamond member, which is King Steve, who I want to bring on the stage because he also had a question that he prepared for us today. Since he was the first diamond member and since he's really been with us from the start of Reform, I would love to get him on the stage and have him ask his question. Let me have a look. Happy Steven, if you can request to speak, then I'll look at my host to see if he can bump you up.
It's a true OG Steve.
Yeah,
King
absolutely.
Steve, right? I saw him coming across in the community quite often, but indeed, very nice to have him on the stage.
All right, so let's see. I'll just dive into another question until we can get him up to the stage. So I think one of the most important things to ask you, Scorpio, is that a lot of people are asking about the funding of Reform. So how much funding does Reform have, or does it plan to have? I think you already mentioned something just before, but maybe you can explain a little bit more about how much funding there is or what you plan to have for Reform, and especially how much is needed.
Yeah, for sure. So I think, as I said before, right, we did a lot of building in the bear market. It's also a lot of self-funding because we believe in the vision and mission that we're actually bringing to the market. But I think the funding that we're now receiving, like the 2.5 million that I already mentioned before, that's mainly for liquidity. So mainly for trading, mainly for generating realized profits and making sure that we can suffice for the DAO, for the operations that are running, but that we can also do sometimes some MVP for just starting projects. And actually, of course, the biggest chunk of all the realized profits will actually go to buying back Reform and to, let it be able to be sold for liquidity again. So in that sense, what we're aiming to raise was actually the soft cap of 2 million and the hard cap of 6 million. It depends also on the locking periods and the discount that actually, the early participants will actually want. In the maximum, the maximum that we will raise is always between the 4 and 6 million. And this is all purely, for the liquidity provision and high frequency trading. I think the main importance here is that our true enhancers and the true growth will come whenever the designated market making for projects will come. So the core, the base is already set, right? Whenever we raised the 2 million, which we already crossed, we have 2.5. And then, ultimately going to the 4 to 6 million, that will be best. But, that will be the base, that will be the core. Next to that, then we're going to leverage the designated market making for projects. And that's really going to be the enhancers for the DAO to become bigger, better, and grow and to have significant buybacks for the token.
All right, and I think one of the things that I've seen in the community myself as well is when people ask about the funding, they all mention massive numbers, right? Like obviously in the Web3 space, you hear these ridiculous amounts of funding that you see sometimes for projects, 10 million, 100 million, $1 billion funding, whatever. Why do you not require more funding specifically? Because I think it's important to explain that as well. So why would you not get $100 million in funding?
Well, the thing is, it's initial funding, right? So this is really like the beginning, and we want it to be sufficient for everything that's running already. But that's also why we've built in a bonding treasury. The bonding treasury will be a never-ending discounted sale on market price on the token, where people actually need to lock up their, they provide their Ethereum, USDC, or USDT, and then they lock up their reform for a specific period of time. So this is like a never-ending sale. So the liquidity being generated from that is ever growing. It will never stop, because as long as there's tokens in the bonding treasury, there's also liquidity to be able to be bought. So in that sense, we start with this as a baseline, but especially if it becomes successful, if it becomes bigger, if it becomes better, if we get more designated projects, if there's more buybacks, if there's more, everything, then of course, the bonding treasury will also automatically sell more reform for more liquidity, of which the DAO then also can grow. So I think, this is just the start, and this is what we're aiming for now. And after that, the business development, the sales, the fundraising, it will not stop. It will just continue for us to, prove more what we're capable of as a DAO all together, and then actually spread the word and let other people also be involved to generate more and more liquidity to suffice for the overall success of the cryptocurrency market.
Yeah, amazing. Well, my next question would be, how will Reform remain their cash flow and funding in the future? But you just explained that, so.
Yeah, I think it's really simple. Like with the funds that we already have now committed, we are already sufficient to keep sufficing for the operations. And then you have the other side. Whenever we raise to the 4 to 6 million, we're like more than good, so we can also have some extra marketing and everything like that. But after that, especially with the community that we already have, which we're very thankful for, I think it's just spreading the word among the cryptocurrency space, making sure Reform DAO becomes the biggest and best market maker, and then getting the best projects out there, launching on the biggest exchanges. That also brings success, and with that success, other people will also want to step into the bonding treasury, providing more liquidity, which will ignite this ever-growing liquidity within the DAO treasury. So I think we need to do this all together. I think that's really the case. We're igniting it. It's just starting. And I think, really with the upcoming year, maybe even 2 years, having a, bullish market, bullish momentum, it's the time. It's the time for Reform to shine.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, it just sounds like they always say to you when you're a little, like, money doesn't grow on the trees, but it kind of sounds like it does nowadays in this space. And I think with this ever-growing engine fund in Reform, it's going to prove that it is. So that's very cool to see. I see that Happy Steven is on the stage as well. Welcome, Steven. You had the question before for Scorpio, so feel free to ask him. You're still on mute, Steve. All right, well, let's continue until Steven figures out how to unmute himself. I know, probably some technical difficulties. We'll try to get him back on the stage. There's enough other questions from the community to continue on. Well, there was a testnet question, and I think you actually explained quite a lot already, because a lot of people ask if there will be more actions for them to do in the testnet. And I mean, I think I can already explain this to them and don't even have to ask you, Scorpio, but as people might have seen, there's 3 waves of testnet. We launched wave 1 last week. Next week we will have wave 2, and wave 3 will come afterwards. In wave 2 there will be 2 new actions that will unlock which people can do. And in wave 3 there will be a last additional action as well. And well, when you complete all the actions that you can do within the testnet, you are eligible for the token airdrop of the Reform token. And that's obviously our way to thank everybody for helping us testing our dashboard. But then obviously the question comes, what are all the actions of the testnet? Well, to keep it very short, that's for you to figure out. We won't tell you. It's up to you to find out what all you can do within our dashboard. And once you find it, you'll be rewarded with the airdrop. Obviously, there will be a checker for you online later when all the actions are unlocked to verify whether or not you have completed everything. Steven, I see you're back.
I think Steven has a hard time to connect.
Yeah, that's a shame. That's unfortunate. Well, let's see. Maybe we'll come in a minute, and we'll just continue with some of the other questions. So another question that we got from the community: which exchanges will you have a partnership with?
Hey, Steven.
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah,
You're here.
follow. Thank you, follow. I really appreciate.
Nice. Okay. Well, then you can now start asking your question. Very nice.
All right. I think I have just one question. All right, and it goes this way. Since the DAO main objective is to provide liquidity to projects and investment for startup, will the process involve the community voting on which project we are investing in or providing liquidity to, or will the core team decide on this? Since it's a DAO, it would be great if the community could be involved in the decision making to decide the projects we are providing liquidity to and investing in.
Yeah, I think it's a very I get your question, and I think it's a very good question, and especially looking at it from a DAO perspective, right, where we want to have everyone involved in the processes that are being done. I think especially, what we really saw and what we really see is that we really need to start with a solid base. So the solid base comes from, of course, the core contributors with their experience, with everything that they already did, to make sure that we can build on top of that. And I think that's something really what you just said. It's really something that we're envisioning to implement anytime soon, or let's say the sooner the better. But there also needs to be room, and also the discussion needs to be open for it. So I think, especially in regards to choosing the projects to do market making for, of course, we also need knowledgeable people who have significant experience within the space, that know how to vet the right projects. Super important, to actually do that before you're actually going to do market making, and put the Reform stamp actually as a verification on their project. So we don't want to do market making for every project. We want to do market making for the best of the best. And I think in the liquidity provision and high frequency trading, we just do this on the top pairs like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, Solana, like the bigger ones. But then the designated market making, that's really something important, where the whole vetted process needs to be very thorough, because you don't want to do market making just for a project so that they can cash grab or whatever, and then they just leave the space, and the retail's left behind with all the dump, so to say. And we just want to make sure that that's not going to be the case. So initially, we will make sure that from the legal entity that's part of the whole DAO structure, that's going to be choosing the right and vet the right projects. Of course, the community ultimately benefiting from that, but in the coming months, I would say we're really also aiming to transition and make sure that the community gets more and more involved, to ultimately actually let everything go out of hands and let it all be arranged by the community. But this is all, of course, I would say a year, 2 years, 3 years, could take a lot of time before the community can fully take over also market making activities and everything. So I hope that that answers your question.
Yeah, sure. The question is answered. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you for the question, Steven. Happy to have you in the community as a core member.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Steven. Great to have you here as well. Let's look at some of the other questions from the community members. So as I just quickly asked you, I don't know if you heard it, Scorpio, but another question was, which exchanges will you have a partnership or listing with?
Yeah, so that's of course something that we cannot disclose. The market making engine is working, or let's say connected to the biggest exchanges. Well, as we all know, those biggest exchanges are Binance, Bybit, OKX, like all the connections have been made, so the engine is able to trade on all of those places. In terms of listings and exchange partnerships or anything like that, yeah, we can of course not disclose anything, but the talks are ongoing. So in due time, everyone will be informed about the decisions that are being made.
Yeah, perfect. Well, looking forward to that, and yeah, it makes sense. I mean, we're still not live, so there's some more time before people will know where we will launch. But hopefully, it will be on all the big exchanges, obviously. So another question we got, which is a little bit of a broad question, I guess, but it's interesting to look into it because it's such a big and integral part of what Reform DAO is how will the community be involved in the decision making and the governance of the DAO?
Yeah, so in our legal structure, I think that's the most important thing to bring up. Also, if you look in our Git book, you see how the whole legal structure is structured. In the end, we've been structuring a special purpose trust, whereby actually the token holders and the community decide, with the constitution on what actually the DAO, or let's say the core contributors are able to do and decide. Then you actually have the LTD, which is hanging underneath of the DAO participants. Like the directors are, making sure that the operations run smoothly. But those directors can actually be removed by a trustee, and the trustee, he is actually the one holding all the shares of the LTD because the LTD needs to act on behalf of the token holders. So in that sense, we took both of best worlds because market making on centralized exchanges can of course not be done without a legal entity. So we have took best of both worlds. We took the decentralized part for the bonding treasury and for the staking treasury and for actually everything involved in regard to that. And then on the other side, we have Limited, the LTD, that's actually doing all the operational things to make sure that there's never an overlap in things, but there's always like a final decision making of the community and the token holders itself, since they can always exchange directors or operators from the Limited if they really wish to, and of course if the Limited does not follow the constitution that's being set up by the token holders. So that's also something actually nice to bring up. The constitution as of now also needs to be expanded. It's an ever-growing process. All together with the community, we want to become more and more transparent, have more and more governance in place, what we just discussed with Steven's question, but also have a more and more a constitution in place that's becoming more and more extensive, and also in relation to the Limited and token holders.
Yeah, well, it's a lot, and I'm always so amazed how you just quickly explain all of these massive topics. So I can also assure the people that are listening, obviously you can listen to this after the space again, but we will also make sure that you can go to the Git book, as Scorpio mentioned, where this is all explained, but we'll also create some educational videos on this, really explaining everyone how this works, because I can imagine for a lot of people this is quite difficult to understand this. It's quite a difficult process. And then, my next question, which I got from the community, would be how will you ensure the ethical and responsible use of the DAO funds? But I guess you kind of already explained that just now as well.
Yeah, I think that all comes, with the responsibility of the directors of the Limited, right? So in the end, the directors of the Limited are responsible for making sure that those funds are safe and well. And if they're not doing that, then they, go to jail in the end. So that's really something that I think they do not want, and that I think is very important for the community to know, that it's operating on behalf of the DAO and of the token participants. And if there's anything, a discrepancy in what they should do and actually what they are doing, then there will always be like consequences for them. So I want to make sure that that everyone in that sense, with custody solutions, with multi-signature wallets, with everything in regards to security, since our experience also lies within traditional fund management and everything like that, we have a lot of experience, let's say, in the cryptocurrency space, as well as fund management, as well as algorithmic software development. So just to make sure that all of those things are actually set and well, and that we will make sure that everything is, governed the right way, and that we will also make sure that this becomes more and more transparent, and even more transparent as it already is today.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's great. Thanks so much for explaining that. I think that's something that a lot of people are happy to hear, because obviously getting involved in the DAO means you have a charge and responsibilities, but that also makes sure that you all together can make sure things go right, and there's not just one or two people at the top who make the decisions for everybody. It's great to hear that it's so well structured and so well organized as Reform DAO. To move on to another. Go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt again.
No worries.
But the thing is also it took also some time, and I think that's also the whole thing around it. There had to be explorations to different countries in the world to make sure that we choose the right jurisdiction to also launch the DAO in an appropriate way by, let's say, the core contributors, to really make sure that it's a decentralized organ, so to say, and that it's all ignited from the community point of view. And I think that's something that we really built on in the past year, 1.5 years. And that we really wanted it to be, structured and sound appropriately, and that it's not just some sort of, another DAO, just with a lot of people around the globe without any legal obligations or without any possibility to participate in the normal world. We want to take both the best worlds, the centralized and the decentralized, and that's how we structured it right now, after a lot of research.
That's great. That's so important because indeed, as you mentioned, you see so many DAOs out there who don't have anything like this in place, and then it just defeats the purpose of having a DAO, I guess. So it's great that this is all in place. So thanks for that very broad explanation. So another question that we got from the community is, what are some of the ways individuals can get involved with Reform DAO besides the token membership?
Yeah, so of course we encourage everyone to become a token member, but because then you will also benefit from the indirect revenues that are being made through the market making, but also with the voting, deciding upon the bigger picture and the bigger view of where we're going. But outside of that, of course, everyone who is engaged and wants to contribute to the DAO, we would like to invite them to just join our Discord. Start being active, start showcasing what you're capable of, even showcasing your trading skills, maybe your moderation skills, anything like that. And it will be noted, it will be seen. You will rise in the ranks, you will be noted by the moderators, and then we can even, at one point get you on board as a contributor or as a volunteer or anything like that. We're always looking for talent. We're always looking for people that are willing to put some effort in the DAO to, for the benefit of all of us. And then in the end, this will also be rewarded. So I think everyone who puts in the effort, puts in the time, wants to, put their sort of, well, not per se money where their mouth is, but their effort where their mouth is, so to say. We just want to make sure that that's all good and well, and everyone is rewarded appropriately for the things that they're doing. So I would, for sure, activate everyone to just, do whatever you like, because the thing is, if you like to trade, if you like to, talk to people, if you like to spread the word and do marketing, everything is possible. But it's just, we need to make sure that the people who are doing it are the right people. And I think that's all coming together with our nicely built Discord, where the community comes together and communicates and showcases what they're capable of.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think in the end, there are so many things people can do, and there's so many ways people can get involved with us, whether they support us in some way, or whether they are participating in some of the airdrops, or whether they actually get the former NFT in the future. But it all comes down, obviously, to all these things rewarding you with the Reform DAO token, the Reform token. So I think in the end, real membership comes from having the token, but there are so many ways to get there, and there's so many ways to be involved with Reform, as you just explained. So I think that's great. I think there's a lot of opportunities out there for everybody. And that follows great with the next question, because and that's actually something I want to highlight as well towards all the community members already. Because the question is, what is the deadline to participate or fulfill the Reform criteria? And that kind of refers to what you need to do in order to be eligible to get an airdrop, or to be eligible to get the NFT, etc. Well, all the details about how to get this and what airdrops are there, you can find in our Discord. Obviously, I already mentioned the Testnet, but also becoming a diamond member in our Discord, being the highest tier and the most loyal community member, also rewards an airdrop. And the deadline for this is obviously when the token goes live, so our token generation event, because when the token goes live, that's when we, kind of the deadline for the airdrop. So the token is still planned to be launched, as Scorpio mentioned, in Q1, which is in the coming 2 months. And that's also the deadline that you have to to get yourself settled in the right way and fulfill all the criteria as mentioned in the question. Then next up, what are the negative and positive impacts of government's strict regulations on cryptocurrencies, and how does this affect Reform DAO?
Yeah, I think that also really comes to our legal structure, right? And to our exploration of structuring it the right way. Of course, you always need to be flexible, right? In crypto and let's say in the Web3 space, you never know if you're doing it right or wrong, because it's always like some sort of gray area. You're trying to find a solution for something that has not been established yet. It's always trying to, find a way on to do it appropriately. And I think we found a way now. It's all structured right and well, and we will just continue to advocate with our legal advisors and to make sure that we have the right people advising us for the right things, to also be compliant and to also follow the rules, because that's also what we think is super important. You can be a rebel and you can do whatever you want without ever looking to legal or compliance things. But we also believe that there's always like a thin line, and that you just want to, make sure that you're at least compliant and legally sound. And, then you make sure that you operate in the right way that you want to operate, but always by the right regulation. So I think, that's something that we really think is important, to follow the rules, but to also, try to keep pioneering, because, that's just something that we like to do. We're builders, we're architects. We want to make sure that, we keep better the space. We want to keep innovating, and we want to, keep growing. So I think that's something that we have all in common in the Web3 space, and that we also need to keep incentivizing, and also, need to keep motivating, so to say.
Yeah, perfect. Well, that's indeed great to know. And again, I think it's so strong to have such a to be so compliant, have all the right licenses and everything in place, because it just not only shows the world that you're taking everything serious, especially your own community, because you have things in order for them, but I think it kind of ensures your future, and make sure you're really set for the long term. Then the last question which I brought today, and I know there's many more questions, so let me first say this. We have seen all of the questions, and we will come back to these questions and answer them along the way. We might start actually hosting some smaller VC sessions within our Discord to answer these questions of people, so we're actually talking with you guys. And in the future Twitter spaces or X spaces, we also will obviously go deeper into the questions on specific topics. But for now, the last question that I picked from the whole list, which I think was actually one quite important, because I'm not sure if we actually mentioned it already publicly or if we have announced it, but the question was, do you have any audit reports on how safe your smart contract is from bugs?
I think also audits, the legal and compliance side, but also the audit side, it's super important, because especially if you're running with, a bonding contract, as we have it in smart contracts, a staking contract, the vesting contract, the Oracle contract, like all those different contracts, you can make it, but it's also very important to verify them. We verified them with Certic, and the token contracts also, with Certic and with Hacken. So in that sense, we made sure that we have done the proper audit to make sure that our code and that that our code is solid, and that there are not any mistakes or flaws within the ecosystem whereby it can either get drained or whatever. So I think that's just super important to mention, and also for any other project out there, just get your audits, have your audits ready, get your code audited, just to make sure that you will never be able to lose funds or get hacked or whatsoever.
Yeah, perfect, amazing. Well, thanks so much, Scorpio. Is there anything else that you wanna add to today's Twitter or X space? And
well, to be fair, I'm just very glad where we are today. Very happy with the community, how actually everyone is actively participating and trying to, get the word of Reform out there. I would encourage them to, keep doing that. Everyone who was in the test phase 1, congratulations. I guess you've already completed all all the tasks that are there, but we'll have to see in the checker. But also everyone who did not do it, get yourself subscribed for phase 2, and if not phase 2, then phase 3, because after that, it will all be closed, and we will be working towards the token launch. So I think everyone, prepare yourself for something that we are in this all together, and that we really want to make a difference in the crypto space on the topic whereby I think it's massive. Market making, the whole market making scene, it's just so big, and it's still a little bit behind the scenes. Not a lot of people know about it, but the volumes that are being made there, and the liquidity that's rotating over there, it's just, or circulating over there, it's just crazy. So hopefully we will keep all of you in this journey, and make it a good journey altogether.
Perfect, amazing, man. Thank you so much again for being here, for answering all the questions, for explaining Reform, for explaining the Testnet, explaining what market making is. I think it was a great session, and I'm looking forward to do many more with you here on the X Spaces. And I see that we're almost an hour in, so I think it's also a good time to round up the space. Once again, guys, I want to thank everybody for being here, everyone in the community, everyone that's new. Feel free to join our socials. You can find everything on our X profile, of course, Reform DAO. Make sure you're on the right profile, always important. And feel free to join the community. For all the community members that are here, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for believing in what we're building and supporting us along the road, for helping us in the testnet, for helping us, always being engaged, always being enthusiastic in the Discord. It's really a lot of fun with you guys around, and looking forward to a lot more fun and a lot more and a great success, obviously, when Reform will launch very soon. Thanks everybody, and see you next time.
Thanks everyone. Have a good one, and we'll see each other in the next space.